Om Sadashivasamarampham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam. Om Badram Karnebhih Shrunuyama Devaah Badram Pakshyemakshibhiryajatraah Sthirairangaih Srishtva Gumsassanubhih Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuh Swastina Indro Vruddhashtravaah Swastina Pusha Vishwavedaah स्वस्ति न सार्क्षो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु ओम शांति शांति शांति. Okay, any questions, clarifications, or it's all clear up to now? Okay to go ahead.
Namaskar Swamiji.
Namaskar ji. Okay. Okay, then going ahead. Remember last time we had talked about basically Brahman, the consciousness, as Ishvara being the source of everything. So the same idea is being continued for a couple of verses. Okay. Etasmat jayate pranaha mano sarvendriyani cha kham vayur jyotirapaha prithivi vishwasya dharani. Etasmat jayate, from this alone is born what? Pranaha, manaha, sarvendriyani. Nothing is being left out. So the whole human being has come here, okay? All living beings have come into this. And kam vayu jyotihirapaha. Kam is akasham, vayu air, jyotihi fire, apaha water, prithvi which is vishwasya dharani, the sustainer of life. Okay.
Maharaj.
So the whole, yeah?
One question here. Is there any way to understand how, like for example, the mind or a pranas can come out of pure consciousness?
Yeah, there is. In fact, you have enough background now. There is a small book called Tattva Bodha. You will find it online. There are Tattva Bodha in Sanskrit with translations all available online. So there they have given a process, okay, of how the whole thing manifests. The example, I can use the example of a dream, how the dream, everything you manifest. See, it is not that even though they say Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi, etc. For want of a better word, in English you will find they are called elements. But they are not really elements in the scientific sense of the word.
Right.
It is, they are just the basic building blocks. For want of a better term, you are using the word elements. Okay? And even in the elements, you will find there are two things. One is called tan matras, the pure form, and one is called panchikritam, after a process of grossification.
Right.
So all this is explained in Tattva Bodha. Those of you here who have not attended my Tattva Bodha class or anything, or not heard about it from anywhere, please read that book. You will be able to read and understand it. It's a simple book, but it gives you all definitions. Okay? So there is a process mentioned. It is not a scientific process, but it is just a way of presenting to show that everything has come from one source.
Okay.
Okay? Because the whole thing is presented as mithya, not real.
Correct.
Okay? So, quantum physics, if you look at the world from the standpoint of quantum physics, 2022 Nobel Prize was given to those people who said it is not real. We have been saying it for the last 10,000 years. Okay. Yeah.
All right, Maharaj.
Yeah. So,
Swamiji,
yeah.
I also wanted to ask something.
Yeah, shoot.
Yeah, Swamiji, I was just wondering, even Ishvara becomes my object of knowledge, no?
Not really an object, because you can't look at the Ishvara and say this is Ishvara, can you? Because
When we go to temple, we objectify.
that is an objectification of a deity. Okay, it's a bit digression, but it's valid here. If you see how it has been presented up to now, Ishvara is everything. Correct? Then, how is Ishvara presented in a temple? If you go to a temple, there is always a form, or closest will come to a formless form, the linga. Okay? The linga is a formless form, or you will find proper forms. But always some form is there. Why am I calling a linga a formless form? Because it's not a particular form. Okay? You take everything together and put it together, we will get a lump. Okay? That's a linga, the manifest condition of everything. Now, this Ishvara is everything. Therefore, the whole cosmic order is Ishvara. If you can understand Ishvara like this, it's perfect. Okay? Perfect in the sense that it's complete. Ishvara is a cosmic order. Therefore, it includes my body, my mind, everything. How are you going to understand this Ishvara? How are you going? You only can understand, you can't objectify. Because the understanding of Ishvara, even at the level of Ishvara, without going into pure consciousness, will include me into the picture. But at least there is some thinking, some idea. Then when you understand the Swarupa of Ishvara is nothing but consciousness, Ishvara and I both vanish into the consciousness. There is no I and you then after that. Until then there is still some sort of I and you, total, individual, etc. Now when you go into a temple, Ishvara is invoked as a particular deity. Okay? There is a difference between a deity and Ishvara. Okay? Like the same Ishvara will be invoked as Ganesha. Okay? Siddhi Vinayaka, Uchchishta Ganapati. There are various, even Ganpati, there are various stories. So accordingly you invoke will be a deity. Now a deity is looking at the Ishvara from a limited form. It is Ishvara all right, but in a given limited form. Since it's in a limited form, you do a prana pratishtha, it becomes a living thing. It's not just a statue kept there. It's a murti, not a statue. It's not a piece. It's not a piece of art. That is fine if you are getting a form like that and putting it in your drawing room. Okay? But the moment you do prana pratishtha, it's a living entity, it's a deity. Then, if it's a deity like any other living organism, it has to be honored, accepted. Therefore, you will do the puja, you will do naivedyam, offer it food and drink. All that becomes necessary because now it's a deity, it's an entity. Yeah. So, because of that, okay, it's limited, yep, compared to, but it's representing Ishvara itself. Yeah. So then you will have Puranic stories about it. Ganesha likes Modaka. So the best offering you can do for Ganesha is Modaka. The simplest offering you can do to Ganesha? A coconut. Okay, a coconut. Yeah. In South they will say, okay, if not Modaka, offer neyyapam, the sweet appams. Yeah. If you have not tasted it, come to Chembur one day and I'll take you to some place where you can taste it. Okay. Yeah. So these are all story. According to the stories, you will say, yeah. But you can offer anything that you think you can eat, you can offer. Okay. But there are certain prescribed. Now it depends. A simple deity that you invoke in your home, you may not have done prana pratishtha. Most of you wouldn't have done it. Because once done, then it has to be, a certain niyama has to be followed. If it's in a temple, again temple pratishthas are different. Most of the small temples that you will see, for example, in Bombay, including famous one like Babulnath temple, these are all loka vyavahara pratishtha. Common people have set it up. So anyone can go and do abhisheka, anyone can do offer what they want, put your bilva leaves, everything. You can do what you want on it. This is loka vyavahara pratishtha. A little bit more serious way of doing it is a Vaidika pratishtha, where there are certain niyamas, etc. You don't normally enter the sanctorium, but certain people at some times are allowed inside. Or there is a Tantrika pratishtha, whether it's Shivagamaha, Shaktam, Vaishnavam, there is a Tantrika, which is the most difficult, because find very difficult to find priests to maintain that. So three broad categories of pratishtha are there. Inside there also you have variations, but broad categories. So this is the deity in the temple. So according to how you have done the pratishtha, accordingly you will have to do the invocation, puja, offerings, etc. This is all prescribed by the Agama Shastras. Okay.
How about Swayambhu?
Swayambhu is a natural formation. Like I can say the small linga I have at home is a Swayambhu. Why? Nobody made it. It was not made. It was found in nature. Nature crafted that linga. The linga that is there in our Rishikesh ashram is Swayambhu. It was found on the Ganges banks and put there. But if you look at certain, like at Valkeshwar here, if you look at the linga, it's very clear cut, it is man-made. You can make that out. With a hammer and chisel, it has been made. Therefore, that is not a Swayambhu. Okay. Swayambhu linga meaning natural formation. So Swayambhu is for, a linga is for Lord Shiva. Then there are saligramas available. In saligramas also there are a dozen varieties. Stand for Vishnu. Okay. They are actually speaking the fossils of an animal. It's a fossilized stone. Okay. Now they will form designs on it. Certain things will be from the center, there will be radiating spokes. They will call this a Sudarshana saligrama. Vishnu saligrama, Lakshmi, like this there are different varieties of saligrama. Okay. Recently, last week, I was at this temple where for the Kumbhabhishekam of the temple, there were about 50 different varieties of saligrama there. They are all Vishnu Bhaktas. So 50 different varieties of saligrama was there.
Now huge saligrama is going towards Ayodhya.
I beg your pardon? Yeah. 2 saligramas from Nepal are coming to Ayodhya. Yeah. Saligramas are found in all rivers. Saligramas and lingas are found in major rivers like the Gandaki in Nepal. My linga that I kept at home and the Vishnu thing, it is not a saligrama, but it is a stone meant for indicating Vishnu. It's white marble, white stone. Not exactly marble, it's a slightly different composition, where you invoke Vishnu. Both are from Gandaki river in Nepal. You will find them on the Ganga, you will find them in Narmada, you will find Kaveri also a little bit, but not so much. But Ganga and Yamuna, Narmada, very often you will find this. So, these are all indications. Or you will make a proper murti according to Puranic descriptions. The descriptions in the Purana, how Rama looked like, how Krishna looked like. You will make it.
Swamiji,
Yeah?
I have a doubt. One
Yeah.
is last week I saw a telegrama shown in the WhatsApp where Vishnu is shown to be lying, lying down.
Yeah.
And Lakshmi at the feet. Now, how is it possible that naturally
Okay. Good question, because sometimes what they call saligrama, instead of being a fossil, there has been some man-made help along with the fossilized thing.
that's what I
Yeah.
thought.
Now, you could, now when you are looking at a saligrama, you could see some form. Okay. Some sort of form, but they will be vague. Then from the vagueness you will make out, okay, now this looks like Vishnu, so this looks like Lakshmi. But it will not be very distinct. If it is very distinct, man-made.
Okay.
Because nature can't make such distinct formation. The flow of water, etc. Yeah.
Thank you. My question is answered.
Yeah. Similarly in Rudrakshas. Now Rudraksha is supposed to be born from the teardrops of Shiva. It seems when Shiva opened the third eye and he was doing like Tratak, looking everything, destroying everything, from his eyes some drops of tears fell down on the earth, from which the Rudraksha tree came in. Like Rudrakshas also you will find various types. So in some Rudraksha you will find a Naga standing out. You know it is man-made. Yeah. You will find a linga on it. How did the linga come up? Like, I don't know how well you can see it there. This Rudraksha is supposed to be a Ganesha Rudraksha. Why is it a Ganesha Rudraksha? Because if you look at the shape, this is like the elephant head. Can you see that? It stands out like an elephant head. So it's an Ekamukhi, but Ganesha. Okay. So this much you will find in nature. Anything more, or sometimes you will find a Rudraksha with a small thing jutting out, indeterminate thing jutting out. Okay, that you also will call a Ganesha Rudraksha. That much is feasible because nature can do that. But you find clear Ganesha Murti on it, on the Rudraksha. You know somebody has carved it on the Rudraksha. Don't fall for such things. Okay? Don't. Yeah, whether it's a Rudraksha or a Saligrama or a Linga or anything. Now yes, on certain Lingas, you will find the face of Shiva, etc. carved. They are all man-made Lingas. You can do that. Like if you go to Pashupatinath, the Linga is like that. They are carved by human beings. Okay? Or sometimes a Swayambhu Linga, they will take and carve like that. That's also okay.
So Swamiji, all these Jyotirlingas are all man-made.
Not necessarily. It depends upon what it was. Like I think, for example, Mahakaleshwar is supposed to be a Jyotirlinga. It looks man-made to me. Okay?
Yes.
It is too cylindrical. It is too cylindrical to be been formed in nature. Okay? So could be man-made. Yeah. Anyway, what doesn't matter. The idea is that this is a deity. Now you are looking at it as Shiva. You look at it as Vishnu. Therefore, the way of worship also will be dictated to by the Agama Shastras. You have to do it like that. You can't change that. This is not the puja you are doing at home, which can be as you want, a simple puja, Panchopacharam. This is by the Agama Shastras dictated to. So if you are setting up a temple, then it has to be like that. Unless you have decided Loka Vyavahara, you just put a linga there and say, this is Shiva, chalo. Now, Loka, by the way I am saying it, it may look, we are looking down on a Loka Vyavahara Pratishta. Not true. Babulnath is Loka Vyavahara, but the energies there are huge. Why? The devotion of the people have made the Lord manifest there. The strength of manifestation is because of the devotion of the people. So how you have done the pratishtha also matters. Lokavivara pratishtha, but the devotion of the people is so high in Babulnath that the energies are huge. Lord is present there. Similarly, there is an astrologer who goes about checking how everything is, in a temple, whether it is proper, this, that, etc. Okay. He even found that there was contamination in Tirupati, okay, by just his astrological calculation. He found that there was contamination, there is, impure things entering the Garbhagriha in Tirupati. And he said, how everyone is a priest, everyone is committed to it, everything is done properly. And which is true, Tirupati, they do the worship properly. So he said, okay, tomorrow morning we will sit down and we will do a proper prashna to find out how it is being contaminated, and if any person is responsible, who is responsible. Yeah. Then that night, one of the priests came to him, prostrated and confessed. He says, I am having an incontinency problem. I can't control my urine flow. Therefore, I am wearing a diaper and entering the Garbhagriha. But when you wear a diaper and enter, you are still urinating in the diaper. No? It is not inside your body. It is not inside your body, it has come outside. So there is a contamination as far as the Garbhagriha is concerned, the sanctum sanctorum is concerned. So then they didn't do the prashna because the man has admitted it and things like that. But what I am trying to say is, to that extent this man could find out things. So he came to our temple in Coimbatore and he sat down there and he was doing all the calculation. Tears came up in his eyes. He said, why? This is such a magnificent thing. The whole Shiva Parivara is present here. The energies of the Shiva Parivara. It's all present here. Why? Naturally, it has been done. Proper pratishtha has been done. And the devotion, full-timers are going and praying there. Full-time students are going and praying there. Naturally, their devotion is high. It is not people going and saying, oh Lord, my son has to get married, my niece has to get married. You are praying, praising the Lord, that's it. Yeah. So that prayer is different. The only thing you want is moksha, nothing else. You are full-timers. But other temples, of course, if you don't pray to the Lord for things, whom are you going to ask? If you don't ask God, whom are you going to ask? Godfather? It's better to ask God than Godfather. Okay. Yeah. So that is the difference in a deity that you invoke in a temple and Ishvara that we are talking about here. That deity you relate to, so that, and this Ishvara is a matter for understanding. When you understand Ishvara in this manner that he has said, prana, kama, ayu, etc., everything has come from Ishvara. That means what? Everything in your life is sacred. You recognize the play of Ishvara in every little thing. Natural, like the sun and the moon and the stars, or man-made. I mean, look at the Ishvara's order by which someone staying in UK or USA can listen to me live. Man-made, yeah, it's man-made, correct. But have you not harnessed Ishvara's principle in this? If you are not harnessed Ishvara's principle, this couldn't be done. So, in this Zoom relationship that we are having, there is Ishvara's order at play, it's divine. It's divine. You come to a live class, it's even more so, because two people are connecting directly, without anything intervening, direct teaching. So, what is not divine? So, to see the sacredness of things, everything as being totally sacred. If this is something live in you, very natural in you, okay, that day to day, this is a fact of your life. And if this is a fact of your life, you see Ishvara's order working in your life, you are naturally a karma yogi. By recognizing the order, your action stands offered to Ishvara. Without Ishvara's order, what can I do? What can I talk? What can I say? How can you hear? So you recognize Ishvara's order in every little thing. Everything is sacred, everything is divine. Ishvara Arpanam is natural. Any result you get is prasada. It's prasada buddhi, natural, anything that you get. This is what Krishna means in the Gita when he says, Nimitta matram bhava savyasachin. After showing the whole Vishwarupa, he says that, Nimitta matram bhava, be a nimitta in my hands. One of my students did a very interesting experiment. What is the latest artificial intelligence thing available? That program, some chat.
Chat GPT.
Chat GPT. So she said, please translate this verse. Please comment on this verse. And the chat gave an be the cause for the result. Nimitta mata, nimitta karanam. No? Be the cause for the result. Be proactive. Be this thing. I said, great nonsense is happening. Nimitta is not used as cause there. Though nimitta is cause in some ways. It depends contextual meaning. Nimitta is be an instrument in my hands. I am the cause. Why are you interpreting like that? Why are you not saying cause? Because earlier he had said, Ma karma phala hetur bhu. Don't take yourself as the cause for the result. I create the result, not you. My order creates the result. You only do the action. He has said that earlier. So you have to interpret the later verse in the light of the previous verse. Purva para has to be seen. What has gone before, what is coming later, all that has to be seen. So be careful when you use that artificial intelligence. I would say, please don't use it for Vedanta. Okay. Yeah. It is good for a schoolboy to write an essay on a topic. It will turn out a pretty decent essay. That much it will do. Yeah, that much it will do well. Yeah. Okay, then that is having said that. Okay, so I answered that question a bit elaborately. To understand as Ishvara's order, that is what is being talked about here. Okay, in this verse, the whole cosmic order. Now, this he is now talking about the order in very, very traditional terms. Okay, 10,000 years ago. Okay, so the language is different. It is like in English, try to read Shakespeare, not the translated abridged versions, the original works of Shakespeare in English. All of us are English medium educated people, we understand English well. But you will find yourself at cross purposes there. Half the thing you won't understand. Why? The language was different. Yeah. The language was very different. Yeah. So, similar, that is only few hundred years old. Okay. This is few thousand years old. Naturally, the language, this, etc. will be different. Therefore, he is saying here, Agni Murda Chakshushi Chandra Suryo Disha Kshotre Vag Vivirtascha Vedaha Vayu Prana Hridayam Vishwamasya Padbhyam Prithvi Yesha Sarva Bhuta Antaratma. Yeah. Agnihi Murdaha. Murda, the head, is Agnihi. Agni here stands for heaven. Okay, the upper lokas. The higher lokas have been represented by Agnihi. Chakshushi Chandra Suryo. The sun and the moon are his eyes. Disha Kshotre, the directions are his ears. Okay. Vag Vivartascha Vedaha. The speech is nothing but the Vedas. His speech, Ishvara's speech, was the Vedas. Vayuhu, that's floating all over the universe, the celestial air. Pranaha, Asya Vishwasya Hridayam. He is the heart of the world. He is the heart of the world. Padbhyam Prithivi. His feet are the whole earth. He Esha Sarva Bhutantaratma. What is left? You, the I. Sarva Bhutantaratma. So like a Mahavakya this is. Sarva Bhutanam Antaratma. He is the consciousness in every living being. Every living being. What is there is nothing but the consciousness. Yeah. So that is it. Yeah. Sarva Bhutantaratma. What is left out? Now you can see just a representation of the order. Saying, putting in modern terms, you'll have to say, okay, the galaxies are the same thing. Same thing is being said. Okay. The whole thing is nothing but Ishvara.
So, Swamiji, one quick question here.
Yeah.
Given the Vedas come from Ishvara, during the process of creation, when do the Vedas manifest?
Yeah, we will see. Hold on. 2 verses more. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Tasmad Agnihi Samido Yasya Suryaha Somat Parjanyaha Oshadeha Prativyam Puman Reta Sinchati Yoshitayam Brahmi Prajaha Purushantasya Prasutaha Tasmad Agnihi. From this Ishvara, the whole heavens have come up. Samado yasya suryaha. And what is the fuel for the yaga? The sun and the moon. Sun is a fuel. All the suns are fuels for this. Because the sun is what energizes everything anyway. Okay. Okay. Somat parjanyaha. From the moon, the rain. Why not from the sun? The way of saying it. The moon is the presiding deity of water, etc. Therefore, from moon the rain. This from that it is said. It is not, as I said, it is not a scientific explanation. Okay. Parjanyaha. And because of the rain, Oshadibhya Purusha Prativyam, all plant life on earth. Why? Plant life is supposed to be food. Okay. So what you eat is supposed to be plant based predominantly. Not animal based, okay? Not animal based, okay? Animal, yes, of course, for milk, etc. That much is accepted and allowed, okay? That much is accepted and allowed because, okay, some people do say that you are denying the calf of the milk for the milk. Believe me, the amount of milk the cow produces, the calf does not require everything. We had cows in my village home, so I know this from first-hand experience. Okay. The amount of milk a cow can produce, calf cannot drink up the whole thing. Okay. And the more you milk the cow, the more milk it produces, provided you feed it healthy, not hormones, etc. Not hormones, etc. Okay. Hormonal treatment, etc. is a problem. You feed it healthy, yeah, including oats, barley, etc. And not just grass, okay. Yeah, just grass. The other feed also to be given. Okay. This is not dairy as an industry that is there in the West. That's a problem. Okay. There are problems involved in that because too much of commercialization happens. This is like the cooperatives like Amul that run it. They take milk from families. For families, the cow is considered like part of their family. No, agricultural dairy, this thing, they consider the cow as part of their family and treat it like that. So, there is a lot of sacredness about the process. That is a different thing. But food, plant life predominantly. Then from that plant life, the human being. How? He says, Puman Reta Sinchati Yoshitayam. The male. puts the retaha, the semen, into the woman. Okay. Then Brahivi prajaha purushantam prasutaha. From there, human beings come. This is true in all mammals. All mammals reproduce like this. Therefore, he says, prajaha, people have come from what? Purusha samprasutaha, from the original Purusha only. There may have been some intervening factors. That means what? That means when you have a child, you are really speaking being a nimitta in Ishvara's hands, isn't it? You don't have to have a child, it's up to you, okay? It's open to your choice. But if you have a child, you decide to have a child. You are totally a nimitta in Ishvara's creative process. You are doing one action. How that sperm and ovum combine together to form a zygote, how that zygote sticks to the walls of the uterus, still figuring out. And you think the parents know all the process, what's happening? Nothing. Yeah. You are happy that you are going to be a parent, that's it. Or worried. And then once you become a parent, for the woman especially, life is topsy-turvy. The hormones released are such that your brain is on cruise mode. Why? Because your total focus has to be on the child, at least for the first 2-3 months. So the hormones released in your systems are like that. Like this girl who is attending this class used to become a young mother just now. And she was telling me, Swamiji, I think I have brain fog. She is a very successful entrepreneur, very capable woman. So I am having brain fog, I think nothing is working. I am just available for my child. I said, that's the process. You are a nimitta in Ishvara's hands. Go through it, enjoy it. Though sometimes it will be topsy-turvy and difficult. Yes. Yeah. Surrender to Ishvara and go through the process. You are taking part in the creative process of Ishvara. Anyone who creates anything is actually speaking, taking part in the creative process of Ishvara. What else are you doing? Even if you are creating confusion, okay? Like me. I am very good at that. Yeah, that's what it is. So, there it is. Then, all right, what about the sacred texts, etc.? This is all normal life, na? But there are certain texts, spiritual texts, etc. What about that? He says, Tasmat ruchaha sama yajunchi dikshaha yajñasha sarve ratava dakshinascha samvatsarascha yajamanascha lokaha somo yatra pavate yatra suryaha. From this Ishvara alone, Rak, Sama, Yajush, all the Vedas have come from this Purusha alone. Diksha, even the rites of initiation, how you are initiated, come from Ishvara alone. Yajñascha, Yajñaha, how to do a particular yajna from Ishvara. These are all esoteric knowledge. Esoteric knowledge, this is nothing to do with man-made things, okay? Yajñascha. Sarve kritavaha. Okay? Yeah. Dakshinascha. Okay. Okay. Now, a yajna has only a yajna kunda, etc. A place of sacrificial fire. A kritavaha is an yajna where there is a stake involved. In that stake, you will tie the animal to be sacrificed. Then if you don't want to sacrifice, you will chant the mantras, sprinkle water on top of this thing symbolically as though you are sacrificing and let it go. It's not that every time you are cutting open a goat or a chicken or something. There were some where you did it also, there are some you didn't. Okay? Where you actually did this thing was very rare. Okay? Why? Because alternates are also given in the Veda. Like there is a Narabali, for example, where you are actually supposed to sacrifice a human being. Wow! How ghora! You mean to say we Hindus are so bloodthirsty that we will sacrifice a human being to the Lord? Yes. When it is supposed to be done? A volunteer is called for in battle, before you start a battle, etc. Battle, thousands are dying. So the sacrifice is made with a volunteer so that you can win the war with less loss of life. So one man sacrifice, you are saving 1,000 lives. But there are also symbolic ways of doing it. You don't have to sacrifice a human being. You cut a white bopla instead. You know, I have been associated with Shankaramatam Matanga for years. In fact, all this class would have been there actually, but for the pandemic, the classes became online. Okay. So in Shankaramatam, for Navaratri and all, they do that. And the final act is a bali, but the bali is with bopla, white bopla. Not with a human being or an animal or anything like that. Because these are substitutes. Okay. There were temples in India, some of the Devi temples, which were actually doing the bali. Even now at Kamakhya in Assam, they do bali of goats and things like buffalo and all that they will do. Okay. But in South, my grandfather is one of the persons responsible for replacing all of them with alternatives that is mentioned in the Shastra. My grandfather did it. He was a police superintendent, and after that during the Quit India movement, he resigned from being the police commissioner. So the British called him and said, see, it is not if we are going to leave in India. It's a question of when we are going to leave. And when we leave, India will need good administrators. So why don't you continue? He said, there is no way I can arrest my own people and put them behind the bars. So they said, okay, we know your devotion, we know your religious affiliations. Will you take over as the chief of the Devasam board and see that all those things are conducted properly? He said, yeah, that I can do, because that is not going against my own countrymen. So he did that. So there is a time when he replaced all these things in Kerala. So most of those things, reformation, he did because the alternatives are presented in the Veda. If they are not presented, you can't do anything. Veda says offer rice. Rice is not very healthy. Can I offer quinoa instead? Not mentioned, therefore don't. They will give you alternatives. If rice is not available, it can be barley, it can be this oats, yavam. Some of these alternatives are given. So within these alternatives, you have to choose and do. Why? Because esoteric, it has come from the Lord. How much do you know to change it? Even the Pandit doesn't know enough to change it. He has studied what is there. He has analyzed what is there. So within the options, he will also say these things can be done. Yeah. So beyond that, you can't do anything. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Kritavaha. That's Kritavaha with sacrificial stake. Dakshinascha. Offerings. Actually what the Brahmana should be given is also said. You can't say, my grandfather gave 11 rupees, therefore now also I will give you 11 rupees. What has to be given is also mentioned there. The value of things, etc. Accordingly you do. Yeah, accordingly you do. Dakshinascha. Samvatsarascha. Then the measurement of time, the year, etc. Ishvara's order. One round, the earth goes around the sun. Ishvara's order, isn't it? Samvatsaram, Yajamanascha loka. Who is a Yajamana, etc. Tomorrow, Mukesh Ambani decides, or Bill Gates decides, I will do a Rajasuya sacrifice. Nowadays, there may be priests, you will say, okay, you give me so much of money, I will do it for you. But really speaking, he is not a Yajamana for doing a Rajasuya. For a Rajasuya, you have to be a king. Where are kings nowadays? There are no kings. And the kings are token kings anyway. Because if you are doing a Rajasuya, another king can challenge you. to battle. That right is there. A rebel prince can challenge you. So where are the kings now? So nobody can do a Rajasuya now. There are only some sultans available, okay? Sultan of Brunei, etc. Anyway, he doesn't believe in the Vedas, so no problems. Okay. So Yajamana, who is the Yajamana for what? Swamiji, my astrologer has said, I should do this yaga. Why don't you do it for me? I can't do it for you. I have given up my right for Vedic rituals. Yeah, when you take sannyasa, you give up adhikara for all rituals. You may still do something here and there, Pauranic stuff, that's a different thing. Yeah, Yajamanascha, Lokaha, the whole world, all the worlds have been, all the different dimensions created by him. Soma yatra pavate yatra suryaha. The Soma Marga and the Surya Marga, all of them, the southern part, the northern part. Northern part are higher lokas, southern part is the less higher lokas. Okay, yeah. All of them decided by, all manifested from one Ishvara alone. So all that is here, all that is here. Other dimensions. To understand that fully, look at the world as 14 dimensions. We are living in one dimension called Earth. There are 14 dimensions altogether. You can't even visualize how vast it will be. This universe that we see, with the play of the sun and the moon, the stars, time, the distant galaxies, planets in them, we can't see it totally. Yeah. Millions of light years away they are. This is one dimension. 14 dimensions like that? Oh my God. Unimaginable, no? Unimaginable. So 14 dimensions. And all that what manifests from one Ishvara alone, Ishvara pervades this whole 14 dimensions. So when you say limitlessness, you have to understand what is limitlessness now. Conceptually next to impossible. This is Ishvara. Try to understand it at least from your dimension. One fourth dimension world, third dimension, three-dimensional world that we are living in, understand from that.
Actually, Swamiji,
Yeah?
is it possible that there is not just one universe? There are many such universes.
That's why we are talking now, 14 of them.
Yeah.
That's why we are talking about 14 universes. Science admits there are two theories in science. One says there are 9, other says there are 11. Because they talk about the folding of space and things like that. So they conceived the possibility. Can you totally understand another dimension? Nope. Okay? You can never understand another dimension totally. But as long as you are living here. After death, if you go to another dimension, you will understand it. So until you reach the fourth or fifth dimension, after that you will understand all the 14 dimensions. Fourth to fifth, higher up, okay? Higher dimensions in your, then they will say you can understand all the dimensions. That's the Purana says that. On earth you can never understand all the dimensions. I have said that before, remember? 3-dimensional figures, 2-dimensional figures. Okay, what are 14 dimensions? 7 dimensions below earth, below meaning in terms of experiences. Earth is a life where your experiences are mixed, isn't it? Some are joyful, some are painful, correct? Some are comfortable, some are uncomfortable. Some are happy, some are unhappy. This is called dimension earth. Lower dimensions are more painful dimensions, more uncomfortable dimensions. Higher dimensions are more pleasurable dimensions. Experiential joy is higher. So this is how you are conceived 14. But it's difficult to understand fully. Remember what I said before? We are all three-dimensional creatures. Correct? We are a three-dimensional creature. Imagine a two-dimensional creature. From 3 dimensions, you can imagine 2 dimension. What is 3 dimension? There is length, there is breadth, there is height. Like in the room that you are sitting in, there will be length, there will be breadth and height. So in the corner of your room, any corner, you will get 3 axes. Correct? X, Y and Z. X and Y is length and breadth, Z is the height. We are living 3 dimensions. A figure that lives on the surface of this card I am holding up, the 2-dimensional figure. It has got only length and breadth, no depth, no height. No height meaning no depth. So will that 2-dimensional figure be able to understand me, the 3rd-dimensional figure? He cannot see me. Why? He doesn't have depth of vision. No? He will see me only when I touch the paper. What will I appear as? 4 fingertips, 4 flying saucers. Why? I appear and I disappear. Appear, disappear. I will seem to be a miraculous being for this 2-dimensional figure, isn't it? The 2-dimensional figure never understand. How can he appear and disappear? What magic is this? No magic. For us, where is the magic? We are just touching a paper and not touching it. That's it. Something we do every day. We pick up a book, we pick up a paper. Big deal. But for a 2-dimensional figure, these are all strange mystic phenomena to be understood. Then imagine a 3rd-dimensional figure like us trying to understand a 4th-dimensional figure. Now what can be 4th-dimensional? For the sake of example, let us say that time is a 4th dimension. How we can move forward and backward in space? The 4th-dimensional figure can move forward and backward in time. Which means what? He can be right here, but 10 seconds ahead of me. Will I see him? He's 10 seconds ahead of me right here. He's standing here, but he's 10 seconds ahead of me. Will I ever see this guy? Because he's 10 seconds ahead of me, no? So the light cannot come because 10 seconds ahead. But he can appear in front of me and disappear. Now if you can move forward and backward in time, do you age? You don't know. We don't know. Age होता है, नहीं होता है. Because you can move forward and backward in time. That means you can go back to a time before you are born. Are you born? Because birth is in time. Can you see how many questions come up by just adding time? The beings in all dimensions want moksha, but moksha is a choice to make. Therefore, in any dimension, if you are given the freedom to act, now the lower dimensions and the higher dimensions are called in the Shastra Bhoga Bhumis, where you have to go through experiences, you don't have the freedom of action. Therefore, beings in higher or lower dimensions cannot gain moksha unless they are born on earth in this dimension. Because moksha is something to be chosen. You have to choose. That's why human birth is praised so much. Because here there is freedom of choice. Now in higher dimension, let us say heaven, for example. It's a higher dimension. There are what is known as karma devatas. Devatas meant for running the setup. Agnihi, Varunaha, Vayuhu, Indraha, Yamaha. These are all called karma devatas. They have freedom of, they are supposed to run the setup, therefore they have freedom of choice because they are supposed to run something. Action they are supposed to do. Therefore there is freedom of choice. So you will find Indra going to Uma Haimavati to learn, Indra going to Brahmaji to learn. Why? Because there is freedom of choice now for those people. You and I go to heaven for a holiday because we have done good things on earth, including listening to Vedanta, but not enough commitment to understand it completely. So you went to heaven. You and I can't say, "Arey yaar, abhi moksha chahiye. I have all the time to study now because food, clothing, shelter, I don't have to bother." Forget it. No teacher available. Go. Enjoy life. Have a break. But I want moksha. Where will I get knowledge? When you are reborn again, after 20 years, you will be reborn on earth. That time you can pick it up again. You really want to go to heaven? Yeah, the lower dimensions are looked upon as jails. You have to pay for your crimes. The higher dimensions are looked upon as holiday places. You go for a holiday and come back. I mean, if you are visiting Turkey for a holiday, you won't look upon it as a jail, will you? You look, you're taking a nice break. And how do you come back? Shinai with the money is over, you'll come back. Visa is over, you'll come back. Sometimes visa is there, you got 10-year multiple entry visa, but money is not there, you come back. Similarly, when your punya is over, you come back. Papa is over, you come back. Papa is over, I paid my price. Chalo, let me start the thing again, fresh. I paid for my crimes, what's the problem? I'm as good as anybody else now. Start. Or I got the reward for all my good actions. No, and now start. Moksha marga again. So this is how life goes on. This is how life goes on. But all these 14 dimensions from one Ishvara alone.
So Swamiji, on that note, given that Ishvara is infinite, these 14 dimensions are only the part that's manifesting, right?
Exactly.
There is still, okay.
It's only the manifested Ishvara, correct?
Okay. Everything beyond that is still unmanifested.
Yes, that is true. Yeah. That's why the Purushottam says, Atti Tishtanti Dashangulam. He extends beyond the manifestation also. Beyond and all, you have to be looking at it differently, okay? Because we are talking about time space. Time space, as we know in this dimension, time space will be different in different dimensions. All time space is not the same. Yeah. At higher level of martial arts, when you are in a combat situation, time actually slows down. The opponent is moving fast. Slow hai yaar. He's slow coach. Taking a long time. I'll get him before that. For a fly, you are a slow coach, okay? A fly perceives time differently. You are a slow coach compared to it. That's why very difficult to catch a fly. So all these things are the beauties of Ishvara's manifestation. I can't even call creation, I can only call it manifestation. The 14 dimensions, all of them, okay? Samvatsaraja, Yajamanasya Lokaha, Soma Yatra Bharati, Yatra Surya, all of them, okay? From that one Ishvara alone. There's more to this. Okay? Some more is there, but that we can see in the next class. Yeah?
I have one question.
Shoot.
Can you explain Tantra, the Agama Shastra, in light of Shruti and Smriti, or like from the six darshanas?
Sorry, I am not getting your question. One second, let me see you on the screen, then I will understand you better. Where are you? Where are you? Yes, Rohit, tell me.
I am saying, can you explain once the Tantra, the Agama Shastra,
Yeah?
in light of Shruti or Smriti, or like all the six darshanas? Like, can you explain?
Okay. See, Tantras are not looked upon as one of the darshanas in that sense. Darshanas are meant as a philosophy for moksha, etc. They have an idea of moksha. Tantra is purely a certain forms of worship. Okay, certain forms of worship relating to certain energies of Ishvara in certain particular manner, including making those energies get what you want. Okay, not do what you want, get what you want out of harnessing those energies. Good, the bad, the ugly, all that harnessing is possible through the tantric arts. Temple pratishtha is also known as tantra. Okay, every pratishtha of a temple, the man is called a tantri. You know, so the original pratishtha who has done, that is the tantri for that temple. So tantras doesn't fall into the darshanas. Tantra is this way of relating to Ishvara, relating to the cosmic energies, not to be taken lightly. Okay, not to be taken lightly. Don't try to find some information and do some of those practices. They can go wrong. If some of the hard practices, physical, pranayama practice, etc., also part of them. If those practices go wrong, your internal organs will be fired. If the meditation, contemplative practices go wrong, you can go mad. I have seen it happening to people, okay? Because they tried it without a teacher, tried it to do it by themselves. It has to be very carefully monitored what happens to you. Because these practices involve your total commitment. It is not something that you do externally. You do a puja. The puja and you are linked together. The puja and your energies are linked together. So much so that anything goes wrong there, something will go wrong here. So you have to be very, very careful doing those practices. If you want a milder version of the same thing, find a Qigong teacher and learn the Qigong. This went to Tibet and China and they made it as martial exercise, called it Qigong. So those are simpler, easier practices that you can do. Easier practices, well, you have to be able to give yourself 1 hour at least 5-6 times days a week minimum. Okay. So then you can do something. So, but be very careful with these. Find a good teacher and do it with them. Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah, Sunita has been doing some Qigong practices with Tai Chi. It's not easy. You get mouth blisters, this, that, etc. half the time. Because the heat generated is so much. Yeah. So.
Is Tantra Shruti or Smriti?
Beg your pardon?
Is Tantra Shruti or Smriti?
Tantra is what?
Shruti or Smriti?
It is part of the Shruti only. It comes from the Atharva Veda, but it has been developed further. So when it came to the other literature that is written, it became Smriti. But the original, the source is the Shruti. Atharva Veda is the source of it. Yeah. You know, you are trying to categorize too much. Your academic learning is interfering. Anyway, good place to stop. We will see that more next time. Om Tat Sat.
Om Tat Sat.